audio capture. Namaskara. I'm really excited. Let's get started. Of course, nothing will appear there. I want you to pay attention to what I am speaking now for this slide. Last year, there was some discussion on the social media that IIT students, ISC students do not join ISRO or spend time in ISRO. There was some discussion. Okay, let us keep aside that discussion. Let us think, then who are those people who have built ISRO? And who are those people who have done so much progress in Indian science and technology? It is set of those people whom we consider as ordinary. People like possibly me. Every ordinary Indian is an extraordinary Indian. What we need is a process. Dr. Santosh Kumar was mentioning that ISRO has been a clear classic example of success and world is looking up to ISRO. There are two aspects. One is a clear vision. The second is a process. If we can latch on to that process, whatever we do, we will succeed. So my intention is that indirectly you will understand what is that which can make us successful in whatever we take up. So let's get started. So I would be spending just 2 slides on Gaganyaan and beyond, because I guess most of you may be aware or you can learn. Further slides I wish to delve into the possibilities, opportunities, challenges, things like this. And if you wish, are they allowed to bring mobile? Okay, so you can scan this, you can post the questions. I'll get to see your questions here, and if you can upvote, I know it's a frequently asked question. Otherwise, at the end also I will put this scanner. So in case if you wish to raise your hand and then ask questions, that would be more meaningful. I would enjoy that as well. Gaganyaan. It's a national program, not just ISRO's program. It's a national program having an objective of sending 2 or 3 Indians to an altitude of 450 kilometers, make them stay there for 1 or 2 or 3 days and safely bring them back. And all this will have to happen using Indian technology. Indian rockets, Indian, say, the crew module, service module. So it all starts with the rocket, human rated LVM 3 rocket taking off from Sriharikota. Can I have pointer if it is there? Fine. I'm not sure whether you will be able to see this. Okay, because I'm pointing here. Say after about 50 kilometers, we'll have the separation of boosters. This is a natural thing to happen. Here you will see one crew escape system. So this is all risky affair. Anything can go wrong even on launch pad. So if that is the case, launch abort system will ensure that the rocket is shut down and the astronauts are brought back safely. Suppose at this stage, this is a maximum period, Mach 3. The rocket would have gained a velocity of 3 times the speed of sound. That is where mechanically shock and vibration are at their peak. If that phase is passed, generally everything will go smooth. But because there is no guarantee, or there might be something that we would have missed, in such a situation, crew escape system will come into picture. It It's just another rocket with very quick reaction, say rocket elements. It will pull the stage from there and then it will throw into say some 17 kilometers altitude, from where it will recover. So what happens to the rocket? It might continue, it might fall, that's different. Now that it has reached 400 kilometers in orbit, so this is the orbital module, the service module which generates electricity and then it gives the say logistic support. This is the module in which crew will be sitting. If you happen to come to Bangalore, please do visit astronaut training facility. You can see this, how you can fit yourself inside this, also you can test. Then after the mission is complete, so when it is time to re-enter, say at about say 170 kilometers, the service module will get detached. We don't need it anymore. Crew is here. So at around 70 kilometers, the parachutes, there is a cover in which drogue parachutes, heavy parachutes are kept. To open that cover, there are apex cover parachutes. Then they will splash down to sea and we would recover them. This is the Gaganyaan project. So there will be 3 missions, uncrewed missions, before actual humans would go. So that is to establish that yes, we have mastered the technology and we are prepared for any contingencies. This is the true engineering. So fine. The next is, after Gaganyaan, in between we will be having planetary exploration missions like Venus orbiter mission, Chandrayaan 4 will be there, Mars orbiter mission is there. Then we will be having Bharatiya Antariksha Station. It's a space station likely to be built from 2028 till 2035. It is a 5-segment space station, gets operational by 2035, and currently an Indian is expected to land on moon by 2040. This is the target beyond Gaganyaan, what is given to us and what we are working for. So this is very ambitious. It's not simple. If it was so simple, anybody would have done it. So we are cautious. We cannot afford to fail. India is a free democratic country. Like few other countries are there which they try and we will never know what did they do. So such a thing is not possible here. Everything is transparent. So we have to be extremely cautious. All space agencies are very conservative in terms of these things. So it is master this technology and advance to the next level. So this is what Gaganyaan and beyond. Now the main possibly the question is, now if this is the ambition, if these are the missions, how do I contribute? There are 3 or 4 possible main ways that you can join space sector. One obviously is to join ISRO, say any space agency. isro.gov.in is the website, under which career section you can see what are the openings, and those of you who are in the final year, you might be eligible. Please do apply. Don't think it is for those people who might have studied in IITs or Delhi, Bangalore, things like that. Nothing like that. So you have to apply. You'll have to face one written test followed by interview. Then you start contributing. Then the next way is join those people who are contributing to ISRO or any space agency. So there are about 700 companies helping ISRO to do the work. So we can join there. The next is you become an employer by making a startup. You don't work under somebody, you employ somebody. You have a plan, you have a project, you want to make a startup. It's the finest time in the history of India that we have such a wonderful ecosystem to start any startup. Then the fourth one is you are a STEM professional, you get into some other job, still you want to do something in space. This should constitute the largest number. So examples include the researchers in pharmaceuticals, MBBS doctors, faculty, the managers, even enthusiasts. You can contribute, you will direct the programs of space. So how is that? That we will see in this presentation. I have kept it blank because there might be other ways to contribute. So don't limit yourself to these four. Keep exploring. Fine. Then next best thing is once you decided or aspire to join some sector, you should be knowing how is that sector, who are the movers and shakers, where do I stand, possibly, yeah. I know this font is very small and I have not intended for you to read this. It is basically to prompt me. If you can read, please try to read only the headings. I will put up my LinkedIn ID at the end. Just send me a message. I'll be happy to share these slides. So currently we have to find where the gaps are and you try to fill those gaps. This is what we call scope, right? Which say a stream has more scope or which course has more scope. Like that, which portion of the entire system has more scope. This is what we will see. The answer is this. It is my observation. It need not be the observation, but what we find is the payload developers, basically the system engineers, we don't have many, which means these are the people who will drive the entire thing. They need not sit inside ISRO. They can be anywhere else. They are like catalysts. I will tell you what system engineering is in the further slides. Payload developers. Today we have ideas that can be tried, but somebody has to make payload. I happened to visit the electronics department and I was happy to note that you have built a nano satellite. RP Engineering. This is a Chennai based company which has built that hardware. Over a period of time, it should so happen that JSS University campus should be building the payloads for others also. There is a classic case, right? Then qualifying agency. Currently, ISRO is the only place where the high-end qualification is happening. When all of us are getting involved, qualification agencies are also required. So the launching and the enabler, ISRO and InSpace are doing wonderful job. Let them do. You try to fill those gaps which are very promising. So is it only your interest? No. It is a national priority. Our visionaries, our leaders have been encouraging the participation of non-governmental agencies, entities in space. In fact, the government of India has given a clear mandate to ISRO that ISRO should do only the R&D portion of it, and the revenue generating activity should be done by private entities only. Fine. The first thing is funding, or say job that we know. Funding is not an issue now. Funds are available. It's not so difficult. 1 lakh crore is the fund identified by ANRF. That's a funding by the government of India for the to fund good projects, promising projects. What are those promising projects? We will learn. There is, all these days, corporate social responsibility was identified only for, say, societal benefits. Since last year, 24,000 crore rupees is the CSR fund that was available. That much is available for science R&D. So you will have to connect to the right people, but that's not a problem anymore. Now that I have understood, okay, I want to jump. So it would be beneficial to know how it evolved into this state. These are the trends that you must be aware of. Otherwise, for us, space is this, where national agencies will launch the satellites, the space stations. We land on moon, send our rovers on Mars. We land on, say, asteroids, comets. Our Voyager has gone beyond the solar system. This is what we generally feel, right? Then came around 2010, worldwide, the nations understood that we should not be giving funds only to the national space agencies. Let private people also do. This is where people like Elon Musk and others started entering. They put the money, they make revenue out of it. So it has become an industry. So them joining the race, these are things happening, and Starlink is a classic example of how private funding can help, say, the people on the ground. So space technology is an activity that we do in space to benefit the people on the ground. Those beneficiaries will have to pay for it. That's what engineers are for, right? All our engineers' duty is that only. Find out some problem for somebody's, you offer the solution. For that solution, somebody is ready to pay you continuously. That's where you have an industry. So space became a clear industry beyond scientific, say, hands or governmental hands. Today, if we list out what are our ambitions or goals in space of the humanity. So as engineers, if you want to join space sector, maybe you should be aware that humanity is planning to do this. You have to make their dreams true. That's where you get paid. We get satisfaction. So we are trying to colonize space. Then we want to go to Mars, land on Mars. So Homo sapiens should become multi-planetary species. So these are the ones. So that is how even in India, there has been a lot of stress on giving to private people. So around this, again, this is a same slide in different words. Say roles across space ecosystem. I have already mentioned systems engineering, payload development, testing agencies are clear gaps. When we say gap, there should be some continuity, right? That continuity we can take as an experiment. You must, to understand space sector, if you can understand that space activity is an experiment by experiment, you will get full clarity. First rocket to fly above 100 kilometers was V2, that happened in 1944, a German rocket. That was an experiment. Recently in Artemis 2, 4 people went around moon and came back safely. There will be Artemis 3, Artemis 4, but Artemis 2 is an experiment. So all that we have built in space has progressed experiment by experiment. So you had to catch hold of how do you join this journey from the experiment. Experiment starts with somebody's idea that I have to do this. That idea should transform into a hardware that should be tested, that should go to space. From there, we get the benefits that we want to get it. So this is how the experiment gets done. and you should try to think yourself, where do you fit into this experiment? The reason is, experiment is the purpose of having the industry, and experiment is the thing that gets you the impact. On paper we may say, okay, this will be done, that will be done, but actually once it is done, only we know whether it is useful or not. It connects everybody, it drives, and it is the foundation. Many of you may be thinking, okay, I will do the startup. What generally one thing that we see is, the entire empire is built, they do the experiment, experiment fails. Think otherwise. Do the experiment. Use the ecosystem that is already there. You don't build the empire first. Demonstrate your experiment. You learn, then build the empire. In the second attempt, in the second approach, you are likely to survive, sustain for a longer time. Fine. One such experimental opportunity, suppose you want to start today. One such opportunity came in the name of Indian microgravity experiments, and I have been fortunate to get the chair of this Indian microgravity experiments committee. We received about 175 proposals, including from students. This is likely to come again. This is an announcement of opportunity for students, if I can say. Of course, faculty know this well. Announcement of opportunity is an open call from a funding agency or facilitating agency that you give your ideas for doing the experiment. Let us try to build the experiment and do it together. So in 27 also it is likely to come. Get ready for that. So as we know, space is a place. Anything above 100 kilometers is typically considered as space. There is nothing there. So it's all vacuum. Radiation is there. Temperature extremes are there. So this is what we are using it for. And several experiments are conducted so that we get benefited. It could be communication satellites, navigation satellites, the remote sensing satellites, or the astronomy, even military. So these are the benefits that we are deriving currently. So today, if you want to do space experiment, these are the topics that you can pick up. It's not just the microgravity experiments. The robotics are there. Laser communication. Between the satellites, there will be, when I call my friend in the US, my microwave signal will reach the nearest satellite. That satellite will transmit in laser to the satellite that is other side. Then the communication will get established. So these are the things that we can conduct. Now coming to, these are the space experiment in terms of remote sensing. If you want to catch experiments that give you highest, say, benefit, it is the downstream, remote sensing. How do you utilize space technology for solving the problem? In the first one, you can see if you develop a payload, an instrument that would tell that crop in this part of the field is likely to get affected. The crop in here is safe. Insurance companies will pay you heavy amount and they will fund your project. This is a problem that we have. There is no clear solution yet. So this is one such example. Then if we see pollution source detection in the city, where exactly is the pollution coming up? This is another solution that we need. So we should be able to find out which are those gases, in what combination will cause this. Then moving on, microgravity. While space is a place, microgravity is a condition. Essentially a free fall. If we sit on that giant wheel, Say when we are coming down, we feel because our chair also is going down. Okay, continuous for fraction of a second. So if that happens continuously, that condition would be called microgravity. Microgravity and space are not basically connected. They are connected because in space it is easy to have that free fall. You put something, it will anyway earth will keep grabbing it constantly, at the same time give velocity so that it will escape. It's a continuous free fall towards the earth that creates microgravity. So otherwise, simple drop tower, this is the Bremen tower in Germany, say 145 meters height, you drop from there about 8.7 seconds you will get microgravity. Then take an aeroplane, fly like this, and then come down about 22 seconds, 22 to 25 seconds microgravity you can get, or say sounding rocket or space station. Now the question is this, why at all we should bother about this microgravity? What do we get? Suppose you want to propose some experiment in microgravity, these are the things. So there are 3-4 classic cases which I would like to mention here. So in microgravity, essentially what changes is, in gravity 1g on earth, the lighter material will go up, heavier material will come down. This is buoyancy and sedimentation. But if this is not happening, things would be quite different. So one example is this. When we are heating something, the bubbles go up. But it was known that around 1960s itself it was known that the maximum heat gets transferred at the boundary where solid, liquid and gas, vapor, essentially they all meet. This was not possible to be evaluated on ground, but when the experiment was conducted in space, it was proven, yes, this is the factor. There, because there is no buoyancy, there is no sedimentation, the bubbles grew larger and larger. So how is it helpful? Today, we use ultra thin heat pipes in our mobiles. What we learned from this is, you have to have some channels, some area, or your design of heat exchanger should be such that you facilitate the bubble growth and then this continuous supply should be there. So you make that channel, right? The heat sinks with channels. So that is one aspect. The other aspect, important aspect is heat pipe. Essentially all our mobiles will have thin heat pipes. It's a closed chamber wherein you can put say water or preferably ammonia. What happens is it's a capillary tube. So wherever it is hot, it gets evaporated and it runs in the middle of the pipe, it runs to the cold chamber or cold place. It gets condensed. Then if we are not bringing that condensed material to the hot spot, we don't achieve much. Thereby, that is the beauty of you engineers who designed the walls in such a way that through capillary itself it is going to reach the hot spot. This design was possible because we did some experiment in microgravity. We understood, yes, this is the phenomenon that is happening. Next example, we can say crystallization. Crystallization is important for semiconductors, the pharmaceuticals, drug industry. So if you grow the crystals on ground, we are likely to get something like this because the heavier ones, the crystallization process as we know is a chemical, it's a fluid, nucleation centers will get formed. To that nucleation center, the various other molecules will come and occupy. In this process, because of buoyancy or sedimentation, the defects are likely to come up. We want clean, pure, crystal, the larger size. This is possible when only the diffusion is the process. Difference in concentration should make these molecules to go and occupy their respective place. That should be the only force. But on ground, you have other force in terms of gravity. Its effect is buoyancy and sedimentation. This convection that makes the thing worse. So if we grow the crystals in space, we are likely to get near perfect single crystal. Then should we keep on growing these crystals in the space? Answer is no. Then what for we do this? I'll tell you. In 1990s, HIV AIDS was a deadly disease. People who get affected, like they were getting, say, dying in 2-3 years. There is something called protozoal, is an enzyme. That enzyme spreads everywhere. That is where the HIV becomes, say, deadly. So if you tell pharmacists, chemists, they will be able to tap that enzyme from spreading. Catch hold of a molecule and offer the inhibitor so it won't spread. The problem is this: when we are doing this experiment on ground, it almost becomes two-dimensional because the gravity is pulling. We want three-dimensional protozoa. So, for analogy, you just imagine there is a house far off, maybe some 500 meters. Water is leaking. You don't know whether it is leaking from its door or its window or its wall. You will take a picture, 5 megapixel, 10 megapixel, 100 megapixel. Still, once you zoom, you don't know where it is coming from. Otherwise, you go nearer, catch hold, and then you know, okay, from this brick it is coming. Exactly the same thing, microgravity allows you to grow that crystal, protein crystal in space, so that we know which molecule is sitting where. After this knowledge, within 3-4 months, chemists could come out with a drug, medicine. Now, HIV is not a deadly disease, it's a maintainable disease. Like people who get affected with diabetes, they keep taking the diabetic, medicine, and they live normally. So it's just a condition. Then, these crystals, silicon crystals, we always want larger crystals for semiconductors. In the molten state, if you can offer, the requirement is that it should not, you put a seed crystal and you pull it, and slowly it has to be pulled. But the convections will spoil. So to stop that convection, magnetic fields are applied. And then in the industry, you can use this knowledge. Now, the question is, there might be something that is bothering our life, but how do we get this solution? If that involves any fluid, gas or liquid, mostly you can get a clarity from space. The third example can be combustion. If we burn here on Earth, the hot air rises, and due to this turbulent, the fuel is not fully used and soot will come out. If you burn something in space, you can get this cool flame. The flame need not be of any color, it can be colorless also. This is possible because there is no convection or affecting factors. Then where this is useful? Now, I want to start an engine. I will give the fuel, I'll give the spark, and I give the oxygen. This is what is needed. But without this knowledge, what was happening? Unnecessarily we were giving more fuel to start and keep it running. Now our cars are so fuel efficient that they have got injection systems like a sprinklers. It's not injection now, it's a sprinkling, and then it rotates, the spark, it gets ignited, and it keeps running with minimum maintainable supply of fuel. This is why we have achieved the very high fuel efficiency. Then in the industries, so it is not necessary that always the hot plate should be in this manner. So this is a ceramic matrix 3D printed, and you can supply this heat. And one thing is, earlier unnecessarily we were making the temperature very high, and the fuel was getting converted as nitrous oxide or nitric oxide, which are very dangerous. Now that we know where the limit is, we can keep the engine lesser than that temperature so that the toxic gases are not released. Then this is even more interesting for say engineers, because engineers are the people who make these platforms, and the highest value users are biologists. We all make this system so that biologists study this and then make our life happy. So I've been working on this for last 5-6 months. It has been a wonderful journey for the following reasons. I was not aware that to grow a plant you don't need, say, soil. Without soil you can grow the plant. Simple water, even without water we can grow. We have to give the nutrients when it wants. This is what our biology friends are telling. It's called there are terms for that. Then one thing that is clearly understood when the plants were grown in space is that the plants collect the required nutrients when they want, to the extent they need. Otherwise, all our farmers, even at home, we give so much water, we give so much nutrient, and we expect it to become a very healthy plant, which is not going to help. And these sensors, how much water is needed, how much nutrient needed, when it is needed, is at the tip of these roots. The roots will decide what to be consumed to what extent. So this is where, if you can give that much to the tip of the root, you don't need to give anything else. And this, for the plant to grow, the nitrogen nodules, they are the ones that will decide how healthy it is. The nodule formation and the nodule suction of, say, nutrients is decided by the tips. So these are the, and say, molecular root microbiome symbiosis, that helps this helps that. How much photosynthesis has to happen by the leaves is decided by roots, and how much suction has to happen is decided by the say, leaf. There is a constant network, they talk to each other, and microbial, say, presence around the roots is a addition. Both say, species get benefited out of it, so it's called symbiosis. Now if we can understand that symbiosis, we can grow better plants quicker, more fertility. So these are the examples that tell us this is not simply to, say, get an excitement that, oh, we launched a rocket, we landed on moon, Mars. There is much more beyond that. There are problems that need solution, and these are clear examples that we can give solutions. Fine. So how do you, these are the, say, institutions which have already done microgravity experiments in space. I'm very thrilled to learn that Your nano satellite has a pharmacy component from Ooty College. Your college also will join this list soon. So, fine. Possibly this is one of the boring slides, but I would take more time on this also. Suppose you want to do some experiment. Essentially, you wait for the announcement of opportunity. Somebody like my committee will do the selection. After that, you will be asked to make your presentation, plan the experiment well, and who are all likely to say payload developer is there, integrator is there, launcher is there, operator is there, then data collection that has to happen. All those people will look at your plan and they will say, okay, okay for me, okay for me. Like that, then safety officer will come. Whether your experiment is likely to spoil my rocket, that then you cannot fly. So those things will happen. That is where until then you don't have to spend a single rupee. You are not buying a single screw. So it's only planning and preliminary design review to happen. After that you will do the proto model. That proto model will let all of us know what assumptions we missed. Then critical design review will be there. Then you will be building qualification module. You will subject all of that to the qualification tests. Then is this flight module fabrication, which we always dream. I built some satellite. That happens at much later stage. Once that happens, that gets tested. Some integrator will collect it. For your satellite, it is Dhruva Aerospace. They will be the integrator. ISRO would launch. The outcomes will come. So this is the journey that is expected. So as an investigator, if you are giving idea, your job is to wait for this and then apply, plan this. That's it. And even for planning this, if you catch hold of some payload developer, your job is done. To that payload developer, you need to tell, this is my science. You build whatever you want to do, you do. You convince the committee. So there are, in the US, there are implementation partners. There are about 38 companies. You apply some project to NASA. NASA selects this. And then they will recommend you to go to one of these 38 who will build the payload for you. That payload developer will keep on asking, is your science, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? If you keep on saying yes, he will do. He will hand over to NASA. NASA will give it to somebody and they will fly this. You receive the data and your experiment. All that you need to do is to ensure that at every stage your science is taken care. Look from the other side. Those implementation partners are typically engineers, multidisciplinary engineers. If our engineering colleges can build drones and compete in drone competitions, if they can build robots, if they can build cars, why not satellites? Why not space experiments? If you are building a startup that allows others' payload to be built, you have a career. You can build an empire. We don't have in India. In the Europe system, it is USOCs, User Support and Operation Centers. You will be directed to go to them. They will evaluate, they will build it, and somebody will fund it. So currently, our responsibility is on ISRO and Human Space Program, especially my team, is that we are collecting ideas. We have 175 ideas now. If you can make some payload, we would recommend some 10 of them to come here. Next batch, when announcement is happening, already you are established. This is something that has to happen. Testing agencies, it is say capital intensive, but that should be possible. Most interestingly, the system engineers. They are like consultants. If you become systems engineer, you will be talking to the PI, investigator, the idea generator, that this is possible, this is not possible, you should plan like this, and you will go along with them until this is done. Then you will come back and give consultancy to somebody else. You are not investing, you are investing your thought process and intelligence. Fine. So, okay. Generally, we start with curiosity questions. I want to do this. How does this work in space? Why I am telling this is, if you want to become systems engineers, what would be your job? Say, I'll tell you. We had one interesting topic yesterday, which we discussed. Some 3 hours we sat with one PI. She is a very well-known, say, biotechnologist. The problem is this: legume plant or moong dal, togri, so that plant plus rhizobium plus bacterium. This symbiosis I want to do on ground and I want to do in microgravity. I want to compare the difference. So this is a typical problem. Now I asked, okay, what will happen? I'll get a paper. In 2025, every day 6,500 papers have been published, peer-reviewed. What is the fun of having 6,501st one? Then she asked, what do you want? We want that if we sponsor your first experiment, your next experiment should be sponsored by a private person. That is possible if you are solving somebody's problem on ground. So during this discussion, now that the problem statement is like this. Now she will take legume 3 types, bacterium 3 types, fungus 3 types, and she will try all of them. The one that gives more number of nodules quickly will tell us this is the best combination. Even if you go and put it in desert, it is likely to grow. Our farmers will use that. So agri companies will fund that. This has to happen. If you learn this systems engineering, you will be able to drive them, you will be able to tell them. It requires, of course, system engineering plus your thinking to tell this is the transformation that is needed. So from curiosity, you should go to the value creation. Value creation could be to start some industry or strategic autonomy. Indian says defense should become strategically our own. Then societal benefits, so that government will pay you. Ecosystem, you help others to build this, or come up with a great science and technology so that we demonstrate our power and extend our soft power. So fine. So this is the last slide. What I am trying to convey is that there are opportunities. It's not just opportunity, it is not just another fancy job. It's going to be a value addition, true value addition. As students of science and engineering, we would be more happy of solving somebody's problem than our salary. If that is our goal, these are the opportunities that you should look for. There is ample ecosystem that is for you to get supported. So I wish from now on you look for announcement of opportunities and you apply, get a chance to talk to people who does this. You do your experiment, solve somebody's problem. For this, ask those questions, the solutions, answers to those questions or solution for somebody's problem who is ready to pay you continuously. Somebody has a problem, your question should be such that the answer for your question will be the solution for that person's problem. There are people to say pay for their solutions. So this is the new space This is the new era. This is what best we can make our life contributing. That's all I thought I should be conveying it to you. So now I have put up my scanner again. If there are questions, I'll pick up from there. I would be more happy if you can ask questions orally. Generally, my experience is that engineering colleges students don't ask questions. They listen, whatever you say, they listen, they nod and go. That should change. Unless we ask questions, things are not going to change. You, not necessarily you ask questions to me, you ask yourself. How long we will be the consumer of knowledge? There is enough now. Our teachers keep on telling, our YouTube tells, our libraries are having already encyclopedia. Change will happen by questions.
No, you should ask questions, okay? Even if it is a simple question, it's fine. So you want to...
Yeah, there is no wrong question. There is no silly question. It's only that we don't know how important it is. Yes. Yes, please. Yeah.
So what are the cyber threats can affect satellite or space community?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, are you from cyber security? Excellent. Thank you for the question. It is a real threat. Earlier, all people were believing, okay, everybody else is a good person. But after some time, it so happened that some countries started demonstrating, they launched their satellite, they hit their satellite with their missile to demonstrate others that I can, if in case of war, I can destroy your satellite. Right? So we cannot keep quiet. We also launched our satellite. We also launched our missile. We also have hit. That was Operation Shakti. Now, more than that is the cyber problem. There are instances where some nations have hacked other countries' satellites and they have asked ransom. So this is happening. Now, there are two answers. One is you make your encryption so heavy that others won't be able to make use, or have one first line of security, only when it is passing you go to the other one. Other one is quantum communication. So this is a real threat. Just like our internet security is being bothered, there also it can get hacked. But one good thing is our electronics and communication engineers have ensured that in the path you don't have to really worry, because electromagnetic wave, how well you have encrypted your signal decides how good is our security than merely the frequencies. That's an interesting one. So these things are happening. This is a real threat and real solutions are required. Thank you. Okay, I should have. Okay, I'll open now. Slito. Anyone else? I'll take my specs. Oh. Okay. IITians do not join ISRO because of low salary. Is it true? Okay. And I see 7 upwards. That's an interesting one. I don't know why they don't join, but I know what salaries are. So I will be able to tell you. If you join today as scientist C, after your graduation, BE or MTech, you will join typically as scientist C in Bangalore because of HRA and all these things. You are likely to get 70 to 80,000 rupees. And maybe the highest paid would be something like 4.5 lakh, 5 lakh with all these perks and things like this. But at the same time, you would be facing some interesting problems as well, nation building. So, if salary is the only thing, definitely there are other options. So, any government job for that matter is like that. भूखे तुम मरने नहीं देंगे, अमीर तुम्हें बनने नहीं देंगे. This is the typical government salaries. So, yeah, that's all I think I can tell from the say podium. Um, but the things are really changing. People are staying because we have very ambitious projects. So one thing that you can do is, then thinking why they are not joining or should I join or not, you think of your experiment. How do you contribute? How do you create your own space agency if required?